this ain't no ordinary stream. From the ashes, Phoenix talks manifest in a dream. Got a growing channel, YouTube's where the wisdom resides. For all the nest members, no truth can ever hide. She's an under-detective on the digital beat, questioning the unthinkable, bringing fire to the heat. With a mind so advanced, highly intelligent and bold, part of the hive mind with birdie stories to unfold. Common sense is a superpower, cutting through the noise, unlocking closed minds, amplifying all our voices.
Phoenix, Phoenix, what do you see?
This ain't no ordinary stream. From the ashes, Phoenix talks manifest in a dream. Got a growing channel, YouTube's where the wisdom resides. For all the nest members, no truth can ever hide. She's an under-detective on the digital beat, questioning the unthinkable, bringing fire to the heat. With a mind so advanced, highly intelligent and bold, part of the hive mind with birdie stories to unfold. Common sense is a superpower, cutting through the noise, unlocking closed minds, amplifying all our voices.
Phoenix, Phoenix, what do you see? Unlocking knowledge for you and me. The nest is rising strong and true, sharing wisdom, me and you. Clap, clap, clap for the truth we seek. Every answer, week by week.
And with that, happy Monday, everyone. Let's kick some ass. How about that? Does that sound good, y'all? Because I'm ready to. I've never woken up so feisty in my entire life than I did this morning. And glad you guys come on into the nest. Let my phoenix wings just wrap around you and give you some goodness. And let's get the party started because these rumors are outrageous. They have been outrageous. And you know me, I'm just calling them out as I see it. And a lot of people are getting upset because of the fact that all those rumors they spread are now kicking themselves in the butt because it's the media that's done this, guys. Those police reports that have dropped in the Idaho 4, boy, they dispelled a lot of rumors, but I have yet to see one piece of evidence about Bryan Kohberger because there is none. Everything that you've seen in the mainstream media, in these social media true crime influencers, have just been a pack of lies. They are a pack of vultures, and it has been disgusting behavior over the last 2.5 years. So I'm going to welcome you all in. Hey, Kaylee, welcome in. Hey, Kitty, Arizona in the house representing. Christina, you finally got here in time. Well, I'm a little early because I realized when I scheduled this live, I overbooked myself. Christina, thumbs up. Make sure you leave that touch DNA. Make sure we do a couple of housekeeping um, things on my checklist. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, and all. It is free to become a member. I will never charge for my streams. That is a promise. Sending light and love to all. You Boomer in the house. Hey friends. Hey Wonder. I almost said Wonder Woman. Woman power in the house. Nobody is retracting what they said. No, nobody is. They're deleting, they're scrubbing. I've noticed this among certain creators that are now backpedaling. Phoenix, have you seen the whistleblower docs from the Pullman drop? I have not yet seen them. I have not even looked at those yet. I would love to be able to look at those. Hey, everybody, if you have a link, drop it below. And we're going to get into dispelling some of these rumors because a lot of people need to hear a lot of truth. What do you guys think about that? Drop a rumor in the chat that you heard during the last 2 years, 8 months, and it's continuing. Drop a rumor in the chat, and I'm going to highlight them before I go and show you a few videos that might sum and clear a lot of this up. So drop the most craziest rumors that you've heard in the last 2 years, 8 months. And we'll shout out. Hey, Gina, I am me. Hello, come on in. Come on in. So will you drop a couple of the most wildest rumors that you've heard during this process? I'll wait a minute. And I have not seen any public doc drops. None. So what is the most wildest rumor that you have heard in the Idaho 4 case? I'll wait them as you drop them. CIA mention, RICO mention, MK Ultra mention, national security mention in that whistleblower doc. Interesting stuff. Now, if this was the same whistleblower that I talked about, gosh, a while ago in New York, there was a case that involved the distribution of fentanyl, and there was somebody with the same name that I've heard that was mentioned in this. If it's anything from stemming from that, I'm curious to know more. Yeah, Mitchell Donahue. Now look up Donahue in New York, and there was a fentanyl ring busted, and someone gave up information and they gave her a really good deal. But I don't know who Mitchell is. It's all rumors and speculation. Hey, Phoenix. Hey, Nesters. Come on in. Come on in. Come one, come all. So, what's the most wildest rumor that you've heard in the Idaho 4? if you guys are talking about Operation Turtle Shell and how to get him back, that was obviously known. Hey, I can't chat, but I wanted to say hi. I hear ya. Hey, Phoenix. Hey, Pete. Hey. So, BK was a confidential informant. I heard that might be a rumor. That was a good rumor. That PK is guilty. That was a really good rumor. We can kind of sum it up here. So, there is on News Nation about 4 hours ago. They're talking about the dog's drop. How he wanted to work with the department. They talked about the police report in Pullman that was under suspicion. He wasn't even there in 2021. God, people. A woman in her 20s, burgundy ski mask, holding a knife. Yeah. There's an evidence and prosecutors. A woman, she said, kicked the intruder in the stomach as he got closer. We'd known about that one for a while. Application after the murders. Wait a minute. They discussed his application after the murders. Okay, got that. They were not talking to the media, just playing it safe with the gag order. Okay, so what was so suspicious of the drop? I mean, there's not much here, guys. There's still not much here. Probably started a lot of rumors with my ideas. Haha, BK was a trained ninja. Whoop whoop. Tina, you get the top dog award. That was probably started a lot of rumors in my ideas. No, it was the media. Was Murphy kidnapped before the murder took place by Dylan? I don't think so. I think they let Murphy out. Somebody went and got him. And you do know that he was found on the bed, laying on the bed when the officers came in. The door was wide open. I don't know if you guys heard that one, but we're going to do a live dig on that and I'll show you proof. The new MPD chief is doing an interview. A couple days ago, they were talking about KB. I left a comment. Either one of them had the report specifically about tan car. Interesting. Chappie Boss, thank you so much. Rising from the ashes. Chappie Boss in the house. Smash that DNA. Yep. Hit it, baby. So, yeah, and all the leaks and the documents. Well, let's just watch a couple of real quick videos and let's dispel some of these rumors. And I think in these 2 videos, you'll be able to dispel a lot of these fake rumors by the media. Has anyone done an interview yet with BK? No. My granddaughter's rushing me, and I meant to say the undercover driver. Oh, yeah, that's true. I think it's disgusting how bad MSM wanted information and to just skip over Olivia's behind KT in the grub truck when she picks up her food. I think it's disgusting how the blood. Oh, yeah, that one was gross. That one was absolutely disgusting, guys. Yep. The blood rumor. Yep. No, he's not doing an interview that I know of. How is Bryan doing? Don't know. Yep, I just saw the new document. Oh, here's a good one. Hannah Gutierrez Reed is in the grub truck video. Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, welcome in. It's okay you got here late. What is the most craziest rumor that you heard during the rampant rumors in the Idaho 4? BK was my ultra. Do you think Dylan and a cop would do this? Bethany there. I'm really questioning if it was a cop. It's nuts. Okay. So, I'm going to do one of 2 things. I'm going to play a video for you guys. And let me just pull that up real quick. And this will help dispel some of those rumors that people are just refusing to continue to believe. It's crazy. It's wild. And this is an unedited interview on July 23rd with ISP, MPD, and the district attorney. This is an unedited video, so everyone can see for themselves. Let me just grab that Sometimes this thing just doesn't want to do what it's supposed to. Browser can't access your screen. Okay, let me try this. Give me 1 second, guys. Ladies. Unedited. It is nuts, I agree. Inside your bones. Is it real? Is it a confession? I don't know. You guys got me there. Let's get this thing going. Some of these people look like they're walking to the, well, I won't say it.
Brett Payne and Darren Gilbertson. Just a couple of things before we begin. We recognize that everyone has a lot of questions. We're going to try to do our best to get to as many as we possibly can. Also, keep in mind that there are still some things that we are unable to talk about because of either privacy interests for the victims and their families, and or they are under seal currently in the court. So if those items do come up, then that will certainly be the answer that you will receive. And to keep this sort of orderly, I will try to be the one to point out who's got their hands up. Right there.
Chief Dollinger,
yes.
What more can you tell us about the release documents that the police department is working on putting online, and what can we expect from that?
Certainly. As we put out in that press release, I hope everybody can understand the immense amount of information that's in this investigation is going to take a lot of time to prepare. It has to be gone through legally to be redacted or figured out whether or not it can actually be released. So I did get word today. It sounds like our website will be going live hopefully this afternoon. There should be another press release coming out in the next few hours to show that website so that people can start accessing that. Initially, what is going to be on there, and certainly this is just for the Moscow Police Department because we're only the holders of our records, but it will be all of our police reports from this investigation. So just the documents there. They'll be redacted, ready to go, again, free of charge for the public. We want to be as transparent as we possibly can, so we wanted to get those out to everyone.
Chief, from the very beginning, your department was saying this was a targeted attack. Can you now say who was the target and what's your evidence to show that?
I'll turn that question over to the investigators to answer that one.
Well, I think Darren and I have, the evidence suggests that there was a reason that this particular house was chosen. What that reason is, we don't know. We don't know who the target was, and we're not going to speculate on that up here today. But we can tell you that for whatever reason, Mr. Kohberger chose that residence. Perhaps it's the location, layout, we don't know. But that's, to the best of my knowledge, that's what that statement likely led to.
During the Haley got their page view, there was a social media account that surfaced that has long had speculation that it was Bryan Kohberger.
He whispered, "I'll take this one." Papa Rogers.
Potential connection.
Another rumor.
Right. There was no connection. There wasn't at all. We looked into every bit of it. We took a deep dive into it. We researched it. We utilized. It was not. It was not. Thank you. We can cut that off.
Is it possible that there was a second murder weapon used, not just the knife?
A rumor that only one person did this.
Is it possible?
One weapon.
All the evidence shows and tells us that he used a knife, a K-bar knife, and that's a weapon we believe was used to commit all the murders.
Mayor?
It sounded like the Gonzalez family said that there was a second weapon that was used on Haley Gonzalez. Can you confirm what you heard that?
Out of respect for the families, that's something that you'll have to get from them. If they wish to share that with you, it'd probably be through them, not through us.
And one more question. You said that it seemed like he chose that house. There's no clues as to why he chose that house?
You know, after working in Moscow for several years as Chief Dollinger, that area is frequented by many, many people at all hours of the night when college is in session. So what Darren and I have surmised is that perhaps it's the old hiding in plain sight. There's lots of people around. There's lots of vehicles around at all hours. It's not isolated where you'd be noticed. So that's where that comment comes from.
It
Especially
does.
the
And no,
police
it
cars.
doesn't make sense. And it's if you were in that neighborhood at all, it's a very complicated neighborhood. It's very closed in. But at the same time, there's everything from college kids to adults that live there, people that have full-time jobs, part-time jobs. So any one of us could come and go and fit in there. So.
Right here.
DA Thompson, during the plea hearing.
So in that
Point of order,
area,
I will try to be the one
Oh, shit.
to
didn't mean to
point
do
out
that.
who's got their hands up.
It's a very complicated neighborhood. It's very closed in. But at the same time, there's everything from college kids to adults that live there, people that have full-time jobs, part-time jobs. So any one of us could come and go and fit.
Okay, so you heard what he said. Mixed in that neighborhood, especially in the apartments right next to that, most of those houses were rented out for the sorority and frats and college students, right? But in that complex and around there, you have Taylor Avenue that's full of students and full of people who work in the community. And then in the Queen Road apartments behind there, same exact thing. Within that radius, there are about 55 residents. On the back side of 1122, there are subdivision folks. There are people who have six-figure homes in that area in the back of 1122 King Road, upscaled homes, and even professors that live in the area behind these homes on the hill in the back. We're talking about big subdeveloped homes. So in this area, he says they have people coming and going all the time. Well, I think he's meaning in the Queen Road, King Road area, the Taylor and the Linda Lane areas, not so much the divisions and the subdivisions behind them. Now, with that being said, obviously they had undercover police in that area, so they knew this area very well. They knew the individuals very well, especially the 1122 King Road, as we've seen in a lot of the complaints. Now, the noise complaints specifically came from a few individuals in the police report. And if you have that police report pulled up, you can go in a live dig and you can go and see of who those complaints were. One was from Matthew Moyer. There were other complaints that were made in the area, but not in the documents that were dropped. Let's listen to the rest of this.
In there. So.
Right here.
DA Thompson, during the plea hearing and then again today, it seemed like your voice quivered a bit when you were either putting up photographs or mentioning the victims' names. I'm just wondering about the emotional toll, and I have one other question.
Yeah, you're right. My voice was quivering. Y'all were in there. There was a lot of powerful emotion. The losses are almost indescribable. And maybe my filters aren't as good as they might have been 45 years ago when I started in this business. But I think you also saw that even Judge Hitler was affected and impacted by this. There is no easy way to remain stiff-lipped and dry-eyed through this kind of tragedy. There just simply isn't.
I'm sure you're not aware of this yet, but there was a photograph where they zoomed in on a picture that Bryan Kohberger had on the defense counsel table. It was an image of a black heart. I don't know if you heard this or you've seen the image. Hearing this, your thoughts?
First, I've heard of it. There is something I need to say, though, real quick. This is the product of, I'm sure I'm getting old in my failed memory, but there's one other person I need to recognize, and this is very important to us because this was a key person that was going to take us through trial, and that's Josh Hurwitz, the former United States Attorney for the District of Idaho who left office and voluntarily joined our office as a special deputy to help us. My apologies for the oversight.
It's really odd how special prosecuting attorney or special counsel, general counsel, let's call Josh the general counsel. He came on board in this case when it looked a little heated. And if you don't know who Josh Hurwitz is, I've done plenty of videos on him. He is the mastermind that took down so many drug trafficking groups in the area, all the way from Coeur d'Alene, Moscow, Jerome, Nampa, Caldwell, all the way into Pocatello. I mean, this guy has taken out massive, massive rings of drug trafficking. So when he came to this case, that kind of told me there was a little bit more going on, which we've seen.
As I wasn't reading my notes correctly. But thank you for that little interlude. Chief? Yes.
I guess my question is for Mr. Thompson, since you're still up there, and nothing to do with on crime. You said that, it was your decision to accept this plea agreement. It brings finality, he will die in prison. But Corporal Payne just said they don't know who the target was and why he targeted this house. Was there a reason why, as part of the plea agreement, you didn't require Ann Taylor to have her client sit down with you all and to answer some of these questions?
I think that Judge Hitler addressed that today very, very well. Judge Hitler addresses everything very well, we found. The law does not give the court or us the power to require a specific factual allocution. And just let me finish. And we recognize that. We recognize that we could have said, well, in order for us to move forward, we want a factual allocution. But I have to be perfectly candid. I don't believe that there's anything that would come out of his mouth that would be the truth. I don't believe that there's anything that would come out of his mouth that would be anything other than self-serving. And I don't believe there's anything that would come out of his mouth that would not further victimize the families. And so that just simply wasn't a factor. We made our decision based on our assessment of law and the facts. We made our decision based on being able to obtain accountability and certainty, not just for the victims' families, but for the communities and for the state. And that's where our obligations go. And in the end, and the old Harry Truman thing, the buck stops on my desk. Well, that's what I got when I was elected prosecutor 33 years ago. I never dreamed it would involve something like this.
That would force him to retire, guys.
But we don't shirk our responsibilities just because it got big and nasty.
Thank you. Corporal Kane and Lieutenant Robertson. First of all, I want to see you, Corporal Payne, but the chief of family told me that you called them every night during that nearly 7-week manhunt, even though you didn't have to. And I just think that goes to show the personal trait in this. So that being said, I'm curious as to where you think or believe the murder weapon is, where you think or believe the clothes Kohberger was wearing that night are, and how do you think he avoided forensics at the scene?
Well, I can just tell you, and forgive us if we go back and forth. It's just kind of how we roll. But there is no evidence that we found that would lead us to any specific, even general location as to where the murder weapon or the clothes have been. And we searched. I mean, the FBI, again, to their credit, we had folks doing soil samples and so all sorts of things to try to come up with somewhere to start searching for these things, and we just never found it. As far as the forensics piece, I'll let Darren speak to
that. And on the weapon, it wasn't a lack of trying. Everywhere that we had evidence of where he went, based upon phone records, based upon the evidence that we had gathered, we searched that. We went there. We did searches on the ground, in the water. We did searches. We sent soil samples to try to figure out maybe where a shovel had been used. So we searched everywhere that we possibly could. But the reality is we're looking for a singular small. It's not.
A singular small. Hold on, wait a minute.
That small, but K-bar knife, and that's it. So it's in this where it could have been, and we just were not able to find it. So
what about the clothes and his ability to avoid forensics at the scene, in a murder scene where we now know David Gonzalez was stabbed 34 times and another victim was stabbed more than that?
Right. So The reality is that somebody can carry this out and
Regarding that digging, did you all know that the Moscow Police Department, on their blotter, November 17th, let me share this with you real quick. I wonder if this lead was ever followed up on, because I didn't see anything in the reports, which I thought was pretty darn interesting. So let me just show you, since this is a live dig, we're going to go ahead and remove that. I'm going to show you my page. And let's just see what this says for us. Moscow Police Department Daily Activity Log. Here we go. Hopefully y'all can see this. Bingo, bingo. What do you say? Okay. So I'm going to go search and see if we can find out if there was any digging in that area. So this was 4 days after the unalivings, the murders in Moscow. And here is their active daily log. And let's just see what they had. They had some DUI, alcohol or drug call in the 500 block of Deer Meadow. Okay, officer can't. Then you have a disturbance. Then you have a suspicious person, a male acting strange and throwing things into a dumpster. Okay, maybe he was throwing his trash out or throwing something else out. A welfare check. Then we have a traffic hazard, VIN number inspection, non-injury traffic accident. Oh, what is this? A suspicious person. Someone's been trying to enter her residence the past few nights and would like an officer to talk with. Eeks, okay, on Jefferson Street, sorry. Hopefully they found out who it was, but let's go back real quick. Oh yeah, they took a report. Cool. Suspicious person. RP states he was followed when walking home from work. Eek. Hope they were okay. Complaint harassment on Facebook. No report. Complaint theft. Someone stole theft. Hit and run accident. Malicious mischief. The gate was locked. Damaged. Traffic violation. Suspicious person. RP could hear someone screaming for help. That was around midnight, right? Stray animals, welfare check. Suspicious person. Complaint of a man in a van full of stuff approached her about buying him a new vehicle battery. Officer responded, no report. Someone dropped off a vehicle. Strange report. Another welfare check. Suspicious person. Oh, wow. A suspicious person on Main Street reported at 4:42. RP reporting suspicious vehicle in the parking lot and a person out digging in the dirt. Officer responded and contacted subject. No report. Well, that's weird. Who would be out digging in the dirt? Were they looking for the murder weapon? Were they hiding the murder weapon allegedly? No report taken on someone suspiciously digging in the dirt. Oh, wow. Look at this one. Suspicious person at, I wonder. 6:06. Third party subject was standing in the cul-de-sac wearing a big black jacket and wearing a black ski mask. Just days after the unaliving. Shit, that would creep me out. What do you all think? Disabled vehicle. Yep. Suspicious person. The fifth wheeler with 2 pit bulls. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, there's people reporting digging, but no report was taken. So, like, oh, and this was another one. Just days after the unaliving, this is something else I noted. Suspicious person, circumstance, Pullman Road by Buffalo Wild Wings. RP said there is a green 4-door vehicle in front of the business that had its driver's door open. Nobody was inside the car. Officers responded but yet no report. Do you guys get all that? No report on some of the probably the most important time. Yeah, interesting. So why don't we go back and watch the rest of these, perhaps truth versus rumors. Very interesting stuff, guys. Very interesting. See if I can get this to play. Play the movie, play.
Still not get covered in blood. That's the reality of it. And this does happen. And there's plenty of studies of that. And we've had some of the world's experts that we've asked those same questions because we've struggled with that. Of why do we not find more here and there? And the reality was, if somebody has the training, if somebody has thought about it, if somebody wears the right type of clothing, that could be the outcome. And that's what we were left with.
Good. Over here.
Chief of Stars of CNN, Mr. Thompson, did you do psychological testing on Bryan Kohberger? Did that weigh into your decision to have a plea deal? And stabbings, multiple stabbings are very personal. How did you assess that mode of murder?
I can tell you that psychological testing was done, Mr. Kohberger.
Yes, it was.
The results of that do not rise to a defense to his conduct under Idaho law. The results of the various testing, most of it done by the defense or on behalf of the defense, is also sealed by court order. So I can't speak to any specifics, but I can tell you, yes, psychological testing was done. I can also tell you that no, psychological testing or any potential psychological condition, Mr. Kohberger, that did not play a role in our decision.
Bill, does it have any bearing on where people
Wow.
their house?
So
where Mr. Kohberger, where?
So he just said his psychological testing did not play a role in a factor with what they decided to do. So has anybody, and it's not under seal, by the way, has anybody seen the actual documents for Kohberger from the defense in regards to the physician, the doctor's reports? Has anybody seen that? Because I want to show you something. In this report, they wanted to put a man with autism to death, guys, in front of the death penalty. Probably an innocent man at that time, now that we know is factually innocent. They wanted to put a man who has autism to the death penalty. So, there is a document to strike the death penalty for autism, and that was filed in April of 25. And if you take a look at this, the defense has used their filing and did attach, you can read through this whole thing. I've already gone through this in length. Okay. Has his IQ scores, and I don't know where the rumor came from about his IQ scores. Let me tell you. You want to know his IQ? It's right there. The defendant's neuropsychological defendant's neuropsychological profile reviewed a high average intelligence at baseline. His full scale IQ was 119, which is the 90th percentile for his age. He showed strong verbal abilities, abstract reasoning, memory, concept forming, and reading skills. However, he displayed weakness in executive functioning, such as planning, cognitive flexibility, impulse control, and organizational approach. Okay, so if anybody asks, there's some factual information about IQ status, what he's capable of. These were from the doctor's analysis. And as you go down to read this whole entire document, if you have time, they actually put in the Eighth Amendment purposes of cruel and unusual punishment, which is highly questionable that the judge did not allow. He said no, no. And this was the order by Judge Hippler. Now, if you go back to the actual document, because that was the order of defendant's motion. So if you go back down and you say, okay, let me search. Oh, I opened the wrong one again. Dang it. Hold on one second. Let me close this. Let me open this one back up. So if you go down and look at defense motion, because that's the actual order that Hippler said no, but he kind of summarized everything the defense put in there, whatever the doctors had given. And in March of 25, let me share this one instead. Let me make sure this is the right document to share. Yep, this is the 59-page document. Now, I'm not going to go word by word over this document. I'm just going to let you guys see what this document was. This was the reply to state's response to the defendant's motion to strike the death penalty because of the autism spectrum disorder. In this, they do the arguments, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to scroll down. Yes, he has visual snow. Yes, he has problems with motion movements. And then they attach an order in the case of another one that they cited, another case they cited because they took the death penalty off of the table with somebody with autism. So Anne prepared her motion very well, I will say. This is huge. And then it goes actually into the evaluation of what amendment rights. You can go back and read that one. There was also another document that Anne filed that shows the state's response in regards to the penalty, to take off the death penalty with autism. They did seal the actual motion to strike the death penalty. That was sealed. But the other ones that Anne had put together, they weren't sealed. And they are in the repository for everyone to see, plain as day. And I think they did that for a reason. Now, in one of the filings, it has the actual doctor's assessment, his CV, his amazing skills, yada, yada, yada. They're all there for anyone to see. So if you ever have any question about what was filed in regards to strike Kohberger's death penalty due to autism, it's all right there. It's all there for you. And obviously, the whole response to this was basically to say, look, people with ASD make poor witnesses. He couldn't even defend himself. And that was factual in the court rulings. So just so you know, that's exactly what she was talking about. People with ASD make poor witnesses, not just the demeanor, but obviously he could have a really strong demeanor when he takes the stand in his own defense, verbally and non-verbally. And that was one of the massive concerns with sitting through a court trial. There's some other mitigating circumstances, but you guys can take a look at that on your own time if you want. So I just wanted to interject and throw that in there too. So let's go over to, let me see. Let's go back and watch this. And let me share this again, because for some reason, it kicks you out if you're not there. Hopefully this will help eliminate some of these horrible rumors out there that people are still perpetrating. Horrible. Horrible, horrible.
The defendant is going to be housed. It's going to be up to the Idaho Department of Correction. And that could very well change over time. And the reality
What's the reality, Bill?
is you'll know about it after it happens.
Over here.
Did you monitor Mr. Kohberger's communications while he was incarcerated? And did he say anything that was helpful or gave you any insight as to why he did this?
Yeah, we did monitor it, both while he was housed in Latah County and then once he was moved down to Ada County. We have hundreds, thousands of hours of monitoring that was done, but there was nothing of evidentiary value that was gained from any of it.
Will you be releasing those conversations?
That's a good question.
They didn't gain anything.
It's my
from it.
understanding the jail will not be releasing things that involve personal conversations with third parties. That ultimately would be a decision because the recordings are possession of the two correctional facilities or detention facilities. But I'm pretty certain Latah County Sheriff's Office policy does not allow for that. And I would guess Ada County is similar. You can ask them.
Back here.
Thank you. Greg Fisher with CBS.
It just cut out. Maybe it's my
48
wonderful
hours.
Starlink.
Is there any evidence that Kohberger was following the social media of any of the victims?
Trust us, we wanted that to be the case. We've looked for a
You couldn't
link.
find
We have not
anything.
found one. Not one.
Yeah, through the
Not-
entire investigation, I think that's something that we need, that you want, is to help to understand this and say, well, what's the connection? What was the link? And so we had every resource possible, and we worked that tirelessly, both from everything from his side, but all the victims and all the members of the House from their side. So we have never, to this date, found a single connection between him and any of the four victims or the two surviving roommates.
No connection to DM, Dylan, Bethany, Kaylee, Xana, Ethan, Maddie. No connection. No online stalking, no connection. There was no connection. He didn't meet them at the Mad Greek. That seems to be one of the massive rumors out there that's flying around, guys. What else did I miss? No connection, no Tinder connection. That was a rumor. Tinder was a rumor. What else? Mad Greek was a murder, a rumor. So then how can it be premeditated? Exactly. Exactly. Now, he did say in the sentencing, he didn't intend on killing the other two. He did say that. Bill Thompson did say that. I think that the undercover cops were dealing drugs to the kids. Very possible. Did I mention? You know what? I think I'm being hidden out there in the social media world. I'm telling you. We should start a GoFundMe for the Counts for the State of Idaho not driving us bonkers. I know what that's in reference to, Chappie. Absolutely. I think it's to protect the University of Idaho's interest by making sure that Moscow stayed safe. A safe town to protect the Phoenix online university deal that fell through. And by the way, I did find 11 civil lawsuits against the university in under, I think it was 2 or 3 years. Wild. I came across, let me see this. I came across a channel today with 125 subs talking about Bryan Kohberger, and in my humble opinion, they were still pushing he harassed, stalked, and oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. These comments, you should have seen what they're saying. It is sad and disgusting, and it seems like a lot of these creators that were on that bandwagon when these reports came out, all of a sudden they immediately became illiterate and unable to comprehend. That's what it looks like to me. YouTube lied to you. I just looked at the video description for this video and thought I'd mention that. Have you thought about including your new website? Absolutely. So The website is up, it is running, it has been updated. And in fact, I will show you real quick what it looks like. So I've put these two media files on the website so that you can share these two videos that dispel these rumors. What a great segue into this, guys. We'll finish watching the video, but I want you to see in, let me see if I can see this. Can you all see the new website? Yeah. Okay, cool. So in this new website, obviously it's updated. It's Justice for FOURALL. Bryan Kohberger is the main is this. The main just goes down and talks about constitutional rights, but the main for Bryan Kohberger is here. Here is the MPD's Moscow's police reports you can share with your friends. In the video gallery, I tagged this video that we're watching now right here. And then in the bottom, there's the courtroom insider that has the interview with Chief Dollinger. So you can go watch that one too. On the bottom, there's a little submission form. And then it has the mailing address for Bryan Kohberger to be able to send him a postcard or a letter. And you can also send it there. And the Innocence Project right there. So it has been updated, and we're looking forward to some other changes. But for right now, that's what we have on the website. There is no official fundraising for an attorney. If an attorney, we have one of 3 right now that are looking at this, if they say yes, they will make a trust, legal trust, and it will go right to the attorney. Do not donate to any GoFundMes. Only the donations here that you give on the super chats or stickers will be going to keep this website live and keep sharing this resource. You can share videos right from here. It is amazing. You can go ahead and share whatever you want here. This is going to be a resource to just share quickly. Hopefully that will work. So let me go ahead and Phoenix, I have a whistleblower doc. Okay, cool. Yep, you got it. Any donations will go to continue this website. So let me go back to this and let's finish watching this video so that we can finish it off with these rumors and dispel some of these lies.
Michael Ruiz from Fox News Digital. My question's for the investigators. You guys are going through this case. You got a lot of evidence about his background, his education, his training. You said earlier you couldn't identify a reason the house was targeted. Do you have a motive for this?
We don't.
No motive.
Lauren Patterson, Northwest Public Broadcasting. This question is for Anthony Gallinger, actually. I remember when Anthony was a beat cop, assigned to talk to us at the very beginning, all of this happened, and now you're running the show. So I wanted to ask, as a community member, has this case shaped and changed how your police in Moscow?
It's changed everyone involved. How could it not? It was a devastating tragedy to our community, and our police department is part of that community, and it was very difficult for us as well. So, this is just one of those things that will not define us, but it is certainly a part of our history that we will never forget. Yes.
Rebecca Boone, Associated Press. The perhaps unprecedented level of interest in a court case like this in Idaho was matched by an extremely high level of secrecy within the case. The Gonzalez family has said that they're desperate for answers about what happened to their daughter. Do you anticipate most of the court documents being unsealed, or are there things that you will specifically request remain sealed?
As far as the court documents, Judge Hippler has told us that he is going to work with the attorneys to go through every sealed document. Probably most of the documents were sealed for the purpose of protecting against tainting a jury pool. And those documents I would expect would become unsealed. Requests for discovery, various things like that. There are also documents in there that contain very personal, private information regarding victims and families. I expect those likely will not be released under Idaho's protections against what the law calls unwarranted invasions of personal privacy. I realize that can be frustrating for folks who want to be able to explore this thoroughly, but we have to balance, and the law balances, the privacy of the people who have suffered, including the victims who are dead, with giving the public as much information as we responsibly can.
Alex Duggan, U.S. spokesman review. I'm just wondering, did the lack of knowing the reason or the motive concern you when prepping for trial? Because juries tend to want to explore the motive or reason for a crime. And also, how do you as investigators and attorneys grapple with that? Because if you can't rationalize something irrational, then how do you continue knowing that maybe you won't get an answer?
Well, I'll tell you from an investigator standpoint, we already know and realize we often don't get to know that. We want it. We all do. We naturally want that. But the reality is it's not something that we have to have or that we get. And the reality also is that oftentimes those very things that you're asking about, they're only known to one person. And it's the person that commits those crimes. And I think that's probably what we have here.
And I would add that going through this whole investigation, I'd probably say it's easier than it was for Bill's offices. We were focused on a task. We had a task to do, and it was discovering evidence and interviewing folks and that sort of thing. So the motive necessarily doesn't play a part in that, right? Obviously it can, but we were just focused on getting the job done in the correct way as best we could. So,
and from the prosecutor's point of view, yeah, certainly lack of a clear motive is something that we think about and consider as we're preparing for trial, because we're going to have a jury of 12, ordinary, honest citizens there who wanted to figure this thing out. But we also, and I've also found that juries tend to follow the law. And even jurors who come in with strong feelings, they tend to follow the law that the judge gives. And there is no element of motive in Idaho law for murder. And so we set that aside as something that we were going to dwell on, whether there was clear proof of a specific motive, because we knew it wasn't legally required. And practically speaking, we knew it wasn't something that we possessed that we could give to the jury without speculating. And I'm sure as heck not going to stand in front of a bunch of 12 jurors and start speculating. We're going to give them the evidence. And the evidence in this case, what you heard at the time of his guilty plea back on the 2nd, that evidence was compelling, and it showed his guilt without having to worry about motive in a human sense. Thank you for the question.
Okay. In the back.
Did he say anything when he was arrested?
Yeah, so Brett, myself, and members of the FBI, we traveled back to Pennsylvania. We were there, and I know they hit on it earlier, but I'd be remiss without talking about the cooperation and the support that we had from them was really incredible. From the time that we got on the ground with the Pennsylvania State Police and with the FBI back there, it was unbelievable. Anything that we needed, they were there to facilitate it. So we helped to shape what that looked like, what the arrest looked like, what took place once they hit the house on the search warrant and he was taken into custody. Brett and I were at another location, a barracks of the Pennsylvania State Police. And then he was brought to us and we conducted an interview with him that night there in Pennsylvania. So,
Can you talk about what he said?
So we went into this interview. We used a lot of influence and guidance from the FBI and their behavioral analysis unit. They helped us a ton in framing our our interview strategy rather. When we spoke to Mr. Kohberger, we kept it pretty surface level to begin with. The idea being get him to speak and keep him speaking. It was pretty surface level. And then when we tried to get into things a bit more detail, he decided to end the interview. So that's pretty much.
As soon as we tried to walk into the purpose of why we're there, which obviously he knows we're detectives from Idaho. So that's when we really started to shut down and they just shut it down. So
he asked for an attorney.
That's calm, relaxed.
Say very similar to what you see and whenever you see him in court.
Okay. Next question. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mike Baker from the New York Times. I'm wondering if you can talk about Mr. Kohberger's family, whether you got much cooperation, tips, input from them along the way.
The only thing I'm really able to talk about is that we didn't get any tips or any evidentiary items from the family. So, you can add to that?
No.
Yes.
Just wondering if you ever had an idea of what made Mr. Kohberger take the plea deal at the end?
No.
Can I ask a follow-up? I know the report.
That was a short answer. You probably have time for a short follow-up.
Can I also ask a follow-up to you guys? Because I know there's some reports that there was public supplies for container out of the house. Did you ever determine what that was?
No, and the belief was in the one surviving roommates in her statement, and that's out there, was that she observed something in his hand when she saw him, but we don't know what it was.
You had an expert who was going to testify about cleaning something off of his work computer. Some software experts. Was there any evidence that he had tried to wipe anything from his phone, software-wise? The bar article is.
Yeah, and so this kind of goes into the connection to the victims as well. That's a similar question. We had the world's foremost experts on this look into it, and there was evidence that he had used software to wipe many of his devices relatively effectively. So there wasn't much evidence obtained after that.
Including, I think he had two cell phones, or was it just one cell phone?
I think he had one active phone, but I don't remember, so don't quote me if he had more at his home or office or somewhere else.
Don't you think they would know if he had more?
Yeah, he regularly used software to try to wipe, clear things off. He used VPN on his devices also.
Okay, back here.
Kevin Fisher with the Idaho Statesman. I'm hoping you can walk us through the decision to hand off the DNA process on the name sheet over to Offram Labs, who's contracted by ISP, and ultimately the FBI takes over that IGG process. And then Prosecutor Thompson, I'm curious if you had concerns about constitutional rights issues based on how the FBI conducted themselves in that part.
I'll start, and I'll just speak briefly to, when we were notified that we had a DNA from the knife sheath, and it was a single source male DNA, touch DNA, then we knew that we had capabilities to take that further. So you're correct, the Idaho State Police has a contract with Offram Laboratories in Texas. So we flew that over there, and they started the process of working that and what was the beginning of the IGG process. And at some point during it, we were working with the FBI, which we did closely throughout the entire case and every aspect of it. We talked and met with them, and they had further resources and some capabilities that we thought may get us somewhere quicker. And so we made the decision to then shift that to the FBI and continue that process there.
And as to your question about legal concerns, my simple answer is no. I didn't have legal concerns about how the FBI conducted their IGG investigation. I know that was the subject of lengthy, detailed, painfully detailed motions and briefing, and Mr. Nye rose to the occasion and was able to address all of that. But in the end, it's simply no different than sending somebody undercover into any place to gather information. And I was not concerned about the legality of it. And the judge came through and made the right decision that there was no violation of the defendant's rights or anybody else's rights.
Had he not left the knife sheath behind, would you have been able to track him down?
Oh God, not the
We've
knife
talked
sheath.
about this ad nauseum. And the answer is yes. Through the car, most likely. We had some amazing people going truly line by line over tens of thousands of white.
Okay, I gotta interject because we're gonna talk about this knife sheath, right? There is so many rumors out there, y'all. Okay, what's the craziest rumor you've heard about the knife sheath? Drop your comment. The most craziest rumor you've heard about this knife sheath. Do share. What's the craziest rumor you've heard about the knife sheath? Let's see what you got. That it exists. That's a good one, guys. One of the craziest ones that it exists. Yeah. That's the one that Ellie put there. Okay, here we go. This is a video I did this morning. If you haven't seen it, it dispels some of these rumors in regards to this knife sheath. I have seen
dispel some rumors today in regards to
crazy
the
ones.
Idaho 4 case.
So let's listen. Let me restart this.
Wake up, kick ass, and let's dispel some rumors today in regards to the Idaho 4 case. Because, boy, people are rampant with their mouths. But let me show you. The first one is, where did the Moscow Police Department find the knife sheath? Well, let's look at the documents right here on justiceforall.com. It's a fabulous resource that you can go and search the Moscow police records. Easy. Page 485, there are 24 search results for the word sheath. And if you noticed, it says significant amount of. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying, Laying, on the bed next to Mogan's right side when viewed from the door. I remained in the room for a moment, then proceeded back outside. This is a report made by Corporal Payne. And as you can see,
now, Officer Nunez was the first on scene that went. I would love to see his body cam to see if he saw a sheath laying by Maddie Mogan's body on the camera. Wouldn't that be interesting?
On page 483, 14th search of 24, item number 11, knife sheath was put into evidence. And that was on 12/4/22. Now, the officer on scene that went to the 1122 King Road on 11/13/22 wrote the report. And the report said that all of the victims were laying supine.
Now, this was another rumor. They said that a body was laying over the side of the bed. Somebody was hunched up in the corner. Somebody was sitting up. This was another rumor I wanted to dispel. I'm sure you guys have heard some of these.
So what does that mean? There it is. There's 3 references in this document. Right here, Ethan. Right there, Kaylee. And then another page right below, all of them supine. And this is exactly what the position they found all 4 victims in. And it means to lie on your back facing upward. Right there. They were not sitting up. They were not slunched over. They were all on their back facing upward. How can you access these reports? Right here at this website, Justice for FOURALL. On that page, scroll down and it says Moscow PDF reports. Easy, simple, searchable, keeping people accountable to say factual information. It's all right there. And for all those creators who amazingly became illiterate overnight or a lack of comprehension, more power to you. Your gaslighters are going to keep gassing. Go for it. All the truth is right here. Be well.
Okay, so had to dispel those rumors for you guys. So that's what we're doing. We're talking about rumors and we're talking about truth. So far we are just about done with this document. So let me go ahead and pop this in here. So what else are the most craziest rumors that you have heard about the Idaho 4 case? Now, I'm not saying theories, and I'm not saying speculation. I'm saying mainstream media chitter chatter, gossip queens, gossip kings. What have you heard in the mainstream media? Oh, that he stopped using his credit cards and only paid cash was another one. That was a good one, which was dispelled in another video I did. Yeah, I've got an amazing timeline series coming up next after this live, and we are dispelling that theory of a blotched timeline.
Hyundai Elantras. So we believe we would have got to it through that avenue. The time frame for that is uncertain. It could have been a week later, could have been 2 months later. We just don't know. We would have found him. We would have found him.
There's a lot of questions in regards to that initial window. Brett and I made the decision on what that window was, even though the experts were saying there may be more years that match it, but the simple numbers.
Brett and I made the decision to go with his year of car. Did you guys just hear that?
That we began to look at were astronomical, of thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of these vehicles. So we chose to try to narrow it and start smaller. And then as we had to, we were going to open that up. But we both believe we would have gotten him through the car eventually. Yes.
A question for Mr. Thompson. Amanda Rowley with respect to it appears that the plea deal, it felt a bit rushed. So the question is, why did it happen so quickly, considering some of the families were against it? And also, the Mogan family at the plea hearing mentioned saying that this is the best possible outcome. I'm just wondering, do you agree with that, or would you like to see a different outcome?
Well, I think we agree with the Mogan family. Our decision was that this is the best possible outcome, all things considered, and factoring into that the defendant was prepared to plead guilty as charged. Now, if that hadn't been a factor, we'd be picking a jury for trial starting right now, or starting this week. What was the first part?
Why was this such a quick? It felt rushed. So why did this happen so quickly in the family?
No, I hear you. The process moved quickly. There was no doubt about it. And like I outlined for the court earlier today, things changed dynamically the week following the June 18th hearings on the defense motion for a continuance and the alternate perpetrator motion to prevail on either of those.
Thank you, Suds.
So the reality of trial was there, and there was nothing else in its way. We were continuing to prepare for trial. We had been doing that for months. And as I mentioned, that's you bringing Mr. Hurwitz in to help us because the Attorney General's office.
Okay. Was that the rumor that you heard? He wore Dickie coveralls he bought at Walmart? Because he didn't buy Dickies. He did buy utility clothing, but it didn't say exactly what it was. So I'll give you that one. Suds, thank you so much for the donation. That will continue to keep our fabulous website going that the Nest has been so favorable to support. So let's finish listening to what Bill Thompson has to say, even though I've listened to this so many times, you guys. This is just like, ugh, barf, right? Let's finish watching this and see what we got. Start it over. Let me get to where Bill Thompson.
Do you anticipate most of the court documents being unsealed, or are there things that you will success remain sealed?
Let's see.
I think he had one active phone, but I don't remember. So, and it was a single source mention
of the defendant's rights or anybody else's rights.
Where were we at?
Start smaller, and then as we had to, we were going to open
there.
If that hadn't been a factor, we'd be picking a jury for trial starting right now, or starting this week. What was the first part?
Why was this such a quick, it felt rushed, so why did this happen so quickly?
No, I hear you. The process moved quickly. There was no doubt about it. And like I outlined for the court earlier today, things changed dynamically the week following the June 18th hearings on the defense motion for a continuance and the alternate perpetrator motion, where Judge Hippler made very clear the defense was not going to prevail on either of those. And so the reality of trial was there, and there was nothing else in its way. We were continuing to prepare for trial. We'd been doing that for months. And as I mentioned, that's you're bringing Mr. Hurwitz in to help us because the Attorney General's office was not able with the manpower to help us all the way through trial. We were ready to go. When we were approached by the defense about the possibility of a plea, our first question was, is your client prepared to plead guilty? And it took them a little while to give us that answer. In the meantime, we reached out to the families and we talked to the families and we solicited their input. And we considered that in making our decision. The fact of the matter is, and I think Judge Hippler commented on this back on July 2nd when we were in court, is that the logistics of the upcoming trial with 10,000 prospective jurors being summoned in, the court staff making arrangements and preparing to process that part of the case dictated that if the case was going to resolve, it needed to resolve quickly. And so that kind of drove the pace over that weekend, the last weekend of June. At the end of the weekend, when we understood from the defense that the defendant was prepared to plead guilty, the court was notified the next morning, and the court wanted to move quickly to get a plea done on the record if it was going to be done, and if it wasn't, so we were not interrupted in our trial preparations.
The trial logistics were the main concern, just as Judge Hippler had said prior, right? With the jury as a factor.
Yeah, the practical aspect is that the trial machine was running, and if it was going to be interrupted, that had to be known as soon as possible. I think that's the fairest explanation.
Okay, question here.
Michelle Benji from 48 Hours. I just had a question about when you were looking into Kohberger's past. Was there any early sign of trouble, or what did his background look like?
Well, we can't go into his younger years. I believe that's actually still under seal. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what I can tell you is the things we do know about him was that his education led him down a path that was very much focused on forensics, crime scenes, that sort of thing. So that was really what we focused on in his background, was what led him down this path. How may he have prepared for this? And I think that was a big component of that, was just his schooling and his choice of potential future profession. So.
And just so there's no speculation here by what Detective Payne just said.
Let me say this before.
As we put out in that press.
Sorry. What was the no speculation?
And preparing to process that part of the case.
Well, we can't go into his younger years. I believe that's actually still under seal. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what I can tell you.
I just want to say this before we get back to Bill. Because before he said, let's not speculate. I'm going to speculate here before he talks. Because this is going to be really important, guys. They have no factual evidence that he committed this crime. He is factually innocent. So either he is one of the best serial killers ever existed on this planet, and he did not do this, and he's sitting in prison, or they have factual evidence. Where is the factual evidence?
Is the things we do know about him was that his education led him down a path that was very much focused on forensics, crime scenes, that sort of thing. So that was really what we focused on in his background, was what led him down this path. How may he have prepared for this? And I think that was a big component of that, was just his schooling and his choice of potential future profession. So.
And just so there's no speculation here by what Detective Payne just said, documents under seal involving Mr. Kohberger's background, they may or may not be released down the road. I can tell you that there is no evidence of any criminal history of any significant nature. There was no evidence of a history of violence. There was no evidence of a history of a factual predisposition to
There
do the
you go.
crimes that he committed here. So if there are any concerns among your listeners or readers that somehow he was a serial killer in waiting with all of these prior actions, we are not aware of any behaviors like that that preceded what happened here in Idaho.
We'll take this question here, and then we're gonna have two more after that.
Yeah,
Finish up.
regarding the CSP's questions for Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson, you talked about the discounts before the plea deal was reached, including the Gonzalez's. Have you spoken to the Gonzalez's afterward about their displeasure with this? And if so, what has that conversation been?
We have spoken with families afterwards, and I can tell you that families that did not agree with our decision have made that very clear to us. And I don't expect anything different. I respect, and we respect, that everyone is going to grieve differently, even within family units. And everyone is going to look at the case and possible resolutions from their own light, and they are entitled to that as victims. I'm not going to pretend that everybody was just fine with our decision, because there were families and family members who were not. And we accept that. We recognize that. It's just a fact of life.
Two more questions? Haven't called on you yet.
It was stated earlier that the target is unknown. However, it's been speculated that the convicted may have encountered Maddie while she was serving at the Maddie restaurant due to the vegan menu options. When his digital data was analyzed, were there any location pins or any information there that could have connected him to where Maddie worked?
No, there wasn't. Like I said earlier, we wanted that. We looked for it in every possible way, digitally, financially, physical location, anything you could think of, anything that we thought, where is the connection? Where's the overlap? And we searched tirelessly and never found it.
Was at that restaurant.
I can't say that he was never there at all, but we never found any evidence at all from interviewing everybody that we possibly could, talking to every person that would have that information to be able to show that he was there or that there was a connection through the restaurant.
Okay, last question here.
There it goes. No connection.
That's okay, so I make sure we're understanding everybody correctly. First of all, Mike's question about the family. You said that you didn't get any evidence from the family. Was there any hindrance of the investigation from the family? And was there any specific evidence you were hoping to get?
Are you talking about his family, Kohberger's?
Yes.
There was not any hindrance, anything, nothing that impacted us carrying out the investigation.
Thank you. And then the second follow-up, when you mentioned, like, obviously he followed this line of interest in his studies, did anything in your investigation indicate that that was chosen as part of a planning process as opposed to just an area of interest?
There was nothing aside from, we have some of his coursework where he did, a crime scene recreation, that sort of thing, but it was all part of his studies. So I don't think that any of us attributed that to a planning process per se. Certainly was a learning process, but whether or not it was a planning process ahead of what he did, we'll probably never know that.
Yeah, and I would say we didn't find anything that would be any different than a student similar, a different student in the PhD program.
Gotcha. So then I'm understanding that the planning process, that your investigation turned out, if it was part of the plan, was maybe that purchase of the K-Bar night on Amazon would have been the first, I guess, step toward.
Yeah.
Did he plan it? Did he buy it with the purpose of that? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
And we don't
have
know.
anything to show or prove that he did that.
Thank you.
There you go.
Well, thank you all. That concludes our Q&A
Got a
section.
dollhouse for sale for you, by the way. They should auction it off. Okay, so going back to the website real quick, it is www.justice4, FOUR, spelled out, .com. If you go to the middle of the screen, you can see the Moscow PDF reports. If you scroll down a little bit, you can share and watch these 2 videos I just added to the gallery. The one with Chief Jollinger is very interesting. I have some more videos I'll add on there tonight. I did update the mailing address in case you want to send a quick postcard and drop those to Kohberger. All these rumors have done nothing but fuel the fire for hatred among media and social media. It's absolutely disgusting. If we could have an army of people get out there and share the truth, that would be absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for the donations today, guys. We really appreciate it. And if you have anything else for me, which I will do a really quick video on what this new document drop is. It's saying the whistleblower and yada, yada, yada. It's very interesting that it is linked to the Iron Mountain hoax, how anti-Vietnam War satire sparked today's excuse me, conspiracy theories. And this was dated Sunday, March 2025. So if you by chance, I will just give my 2 cents, common sense in regards to this document drop that everybody's like, oh, did you see the whistleblower document? Excuse me, I will comment on it. You may not like my comment, but since you asked, I will give it to you. So you may not like my comment on this whistleblower document, but I'm going to give it to you. I've read it. I see patterns of delusion. That's my comment. If you guys didn't read through this document, you will notice some patterns of delusion. And this is not some document. I don't know who leaked this document, but it looks like imaginary conspiracy, especially like things like CIA, Blank and Langley. It's unconstitutional satellite wiretapping surveillance, mimicking foreign intelligence lingo. It looks like it's really, unfortunately, in my humble opinion, racist hate fueled and to an extreme degree. This is awful. And I highly wonder, it reminds me of Iron Mountain, and it also reminds me of Looney Lies, if you guys know what I mean. So I think it's just more fake news with a label stamped on it. And this is terrible because honestly, this guy is a real guy in New York. The guy that's been disclosed as being a whistleblower in this email going around. It looks like he is just taking things out of the headlines. He is sharing this information. He does have ties in Texas and Washington and California. He does have some associates in that area. He does have a public criminal record in California. I would not suspect this guy has got his complete act together. He looks like he's about 55. And from what I've seen and gathered in the last, 10 minutes, I would say that this guy probably needs some help. And that's my humble opinion. So whoever sent that to me, thank you. That's the document that was released. And saying that it's a whistleblower doc in Washington. I don't know who made this. They put this person's email, put it out there, distributing it everywhere, and I would probably just shoot that rumor down and stop allowing these people to gaslight you guys. It looks like this guy was a professional. He holds a realtor's license in California back in the early 2000s. So, shut these rumors down, guys. You don't have to believe everyone and what they're saying. So, in my humble opinion, again, I'm no one. I'm nothing special. But in my opinion, somebody wrote that in great distress. Probably really unhappy with the current state of America. That would be my guess. So, remember to like and follow, subscribe, hit all. I did have to go a little early. I really do apologize for that. But I had overbooked myself I overpromised and I didn't want to underdeliver. So I came on here first. So as always, you guys, love every single one of you. If you see some truth, give that person a shout out. If you see some lies, call them out. Call them out, but do it gently with love, because you know what? A lot of these people around here, they're banking on this content. I'm not. I'm just reporting what these people have reported on. So, I did used to have different content. I will be honest and transparent. I did have a sourdough channel on TikTok for a very long time. It's still up there. I haven't done much with it. But there's other things that I do. I live my life to the fullest, and don't let anybody stop you or your dreams. Thank you, Dinah. I really appreciate that. So as always, like and follow for more. Be well, y'all.